Now that you've launched Xcode, let's go ahead and create a new project. Then we're going to choose Cocoa Application. And let's name this one Twitter Me. And click Save. And just as before, let's go up to our Classes tab and untoggle that. And let's do the same thing with Resources. For now, we're going to leave our Twitter Me app delegate alone, and we're going to create a new class. So right-click on the Classes Groups folder, choose Add, and New File. We're going to create an Objective-C class file, subclassing NSObject, and click Next. This class is going to be our main controller, so we're going to call it TM Main Controller, and click Finish. And in our main controller, we're going to add some IB outlets to connect up to our interface. So I'll go ahead and add those now. We're going to need 3 text fields and 1 text view. So the first text field will be the username text field. And the next text field will be user pass text field. And the last text field will be our display text. The display text will be used to let the user know how many characters they have and if the post was successful. The next thing we'll need is an NSText view. And this will hold our tweet text. We also have several buttons that we have in our UI, and we're going to need actions to attach to those. So let's create those now. We're going to need one to show the sheet credentials. And on the credentials sheet, we have a submit and a cancel button. So that takes care of both of those. We're going to need one to post the tweet. And one to create the tiny URL. So with our basic UI elements in place in code, let's open up our main menu nib and lay out our interface and hook all these elements up. Before you do that, make sure you save this file. That way everything will be available in Interface Builder to hook up. So I'm going to click on the main menu nib. I'll double click that. I'm going to resize the window. I'll go down and drag the text view out, and that's under Inputs and Values. I'm going to put it edge to edge. And with it selected, I'm going to click on the Attributes Inspector and deselect Show Vertical Scroll Bar. I'm going to need a text field for our display text, so I'll grab a label for that. Drag the size out a little bit. And we're going to need 2 buttons. I'm going to use the rounded textured buttons. And that's a little large, so I'm going to go over to the Size tab, and instead of choosing regular, I'm going to select small. Select all the text there, and this is going to be post. I'm going to resize that. I'm going to make a copy of this by holding down my Option key and clicking on it, holding down with my mouse and dragging. And when I release, I'm going to call this one Tiny URL. Now we have all the elements laid out on this window. But if we look down in the main menu nib window, we'll see that there's no object to hook these up to. Well, that's easily fixed. We can go over to Objects and Controllers, and we're going to choose another blue cube. So this is an object. We'll drag it in. Now currently this is not associated with a class, so we can fix that by going up to our object identity, and we'll give this the name TM Main Controller. Now you'll see as soon as I started typing, it auto-completed for me. So at this point, I can just hit the Tab key, and now that has turned that object into our main controller. So for quick access, I'm going to right mouse click on this and bring up our inspector window. And I'm just going to drag from these circles over to the corresponding elements in the UI. So our display text is the label. Our tweet text is the text view. So I want to make sure I get up there to the top where text view shows up right over here on the right hand side. We can see that now we have the text view selected. So I'll release there. The username text field and the user pass text field, those will both be used in our credentials window that we'll create shortly. I'm going to come down to the actions and choose Create Tiny URL and drag that over to Tiny URL button. Our Obtain Credentials Cancel button and Submit button will be in our credentials window. So I'll come down to Post Tweet and I'll hook that up to our Post button. Now we have our main window configured and all connected to our class. In our next video, we'll create our credentials window and hook everything up in that as well.